On MythBusters, they have ways of making you talk.
Tori and Scotty are gonna make me cry today.
Or at least they think they do. Can this tiny little drop really turn the toughest spy to water?
Okay, so we have a weird psychological myth.
We have to put the Chinese water torture to the test.
Wait, is that the one where repetitive drips of water on your forehead are an effective form of torture and possibly will drive you insane?
Exactly.
That's the one.
Wow.
Water torture, the stuff of movies, or something more? Torture victim counselor Gerald Gray has certainly heard of it.
It's a process by which the prisoner is immobilized and slow drips of water are dropped onto their head. For how long, I can't say. I'm not sure what's considered an effective use of the torture.
To test if and how drips become powerful persuaders, the MythBusters have two experiments in mind. For the first, they'll create their own torture chamber. They'll need a rack to secure the victim, a brace to keep their head still, and a constantly dripping tap. Tori's on rack duty and seems to be taking unexpected pleasure in his work.
You know, we don't need that. Why are we going through all this trouble to build this water torture device? I mean, really, you just buy them a six-pack and they'll tell you whatever you want to know.
He'll make a faceplate from an old mold of Adam's head, a kind of torture in itself.
Take it off! Oh, it burns! I don't want to look like Adam.
Kari's creating a plumber's nightmare.
This valve is gate valve, and this is going to vary how fast the drips come.
Okay.
A constantly dripping tap.
So it'll just be little drips off the end, and then one will be halfway in between.
I imagine I'm going to fall asleep on this thing. Trying to picture the water drop. Oh!
So they have the rig.
Could you fall asleep?
Now, as a precaution, they're calling in paramedics to monitor the test subject's health. You might remember Sanjay from a previous MythBusters close encounter of the uncomfortable kind.
Oh, Sanjay. Sanjay, will you respect me tomorrow?
Just relax, you'll be fine.
Kari's being a good sport, and most importantly, she knows she can stop this at any time and be released in seconds. First, Sanjay checks her vital signs. And as this is a psychological test, Kari will be asked a set of questions before and during the torture to establish her stress levels.
Do you feel nervous and anxious?
Sometimes.
Have you ever felt afraid?
Sometimes.
Hey.
Do you like gladiator movies?
Now remember, Kari is free to call this off at any time. The shackles can be removed within seconds, and she's among friends. But it's still a creepy feeling.
I can't even imagine this being for real. I'm around people that I'm secure with, that I totally trust, and I know that are going to get me out of this. I have an ambulance standing by with paramedics. If this was for real, I would be screaming and struggling. I'd probably have bloody wrists and ankles by now.
I think we're ready to go.
Starting clock.
And so the torture begins. Every 2 seconds or so, a fat, cold drop of water will fall, hitting Kari's forehead in exactly the same place every time. Every 2 seconds.
Somewhat annoying.
Okay, Kari, I'm going to ask you some questions. This is like the same one that Scotty asked you. We're just now 15 minutes into this.
I didn't think I was going to go 15 minutes. I'm very surprised.
Do you feel nervous or anxious?
Mild.
Mild. Do you feel afraid?
Mild.
Mild. How easily would you get upset right now?
Easily.
Easily. Severe.
After 15 minutes, Kari thinks she's holding up relatively well. But the power of water torture is meant to increase the longer it goes on.
as most of the MythBusters crew knows, I can fall asleep just about anywhere. And I'd like to attempt to do that here, but there's this fly that's just landing on every exposed part of my body it can.
Kari's been on the rack an hour now. Her vital signs are still within the safe range, but the torture is starting to tell on her emotions.
You ready?
Go ahead.
Okay, do you feel nervous and anxious?
Yes.
Would you say mild, moderate, or severe?
Severe.
Do you feel afraid?
No. Mild.
Mild. Are you getting upset, or do you feel like you're going to panic?
Extreme.
Do you feel like you're going to fall apart and go to pieces?
I actually don't want to do this test right now.
All right, let's get her out.
No, it's fine. Just give me a second, okay? I had a moment of sheer terror and panic when I was on the rack, and it was so strange. I didn't expect going into this that I was going to freak out and start crying in front of everybody. I mean, I knew I could get up at any time, but the restraints totally made me lose it. I just had a sudden claustrophobia attack. That's what that was a minute ago. Being bound is crazy. I didn't even feel the water at that point.
Fly! Which lands on my feet, my toes, and my elbows, and my hands, and it's awful. The fly is definitely much worse than the water.
Flies aside, Adam's finding life as an unrestrained, soggy couch potato somewhat to his liking.
Long-term psychological side effects. If I haven't had any long-term psychological side effects from all the things I've already done on this show, this isn't going to hurt much more.
Are your hands feeling wet and clammy?
No.
Are you having a problem sleeping?
I think this is actually would be a very good torture.
Although Kari's regained her composure, somehow this just isn't fun anymore. The experiment is becoming a little too real. Enough is enough.
I think you've proven yourself. I think you probably could stay here longer, but I'm actually going to let you loose.
Okay.
Some concern about your shoulder and all the twitching that you're doing and stuff like that. You're obviously getting, kind of aggro. And that's the last thing you need to get. Now we'll just bring it up slow.
Take it nice and slow. If you start to feel a cramp, go back to before.
Yeah.
Kari lasted more than an hour and a half, but in hindsight, it was probably an hour and a half too long.
I'm so used to coming into MythBusters and having a blast doing everything that we do. This was a rough experiment for me. I still haven't gotten over the bruises on my wrists from the shackles.
Unrestrained, Adam is able to cope much better with the drip.
It's been about 3.5 hours. At the worst, I feel like, someone's got their finger on this spot on my forehead that the water keeps hitting.
Ultimately, it seems it's not the waterworks above his head that will defeat him.
These adult diapers are really meant for, occasional leakage and incontinence, not for a grown man's, midday wee. Oh my God!
In the space of an afternoon, water torture has claimed its second MythBuster in an unexpected way. But Adam's left in no doubt about the power of those little drops.
I'll put it this way. Because you'd have to restrain someone to do that, even if we eliminate the restraints, as we did for me, I felt the pressure. With the restraints, it would be a horrible experience over 8 or 10 hours or a couple of days. You'd not only feel the pressure from the drip, but you'd be itching, you'd be wet, you'd be cold. All of those factors, I'd say, yeah, absolutely, it would be a torture.
No, it's not a myth. It's been used at least once in my experience. I suppose it's been used other times.
Gerald's too polite to say they should have thought a little more about the consequences of this experiment before starting it. But you get the drift.
It's a very tricky thing to experiment with, torture. Most people don't know it, but it can be very, very deadly.
I went into this thinking of it like a physical endurance test, like climbing a mountain. And I walked away with it with much more real experience. It was much scarier than I expected.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in reality, that's the fears that you can never get out. And there's no way that we can ever really, experiment that way. We'll never be able to get there.
So let's finish this. We're done with Chinese water torture.
Yes.